The eviction notice trembled in Rochelle Bennett's hands as she sat in her rust-stained car outside Sweet Dreams Cafe. 21 days. That's all she had to find a new place for her and Tyler. Her 4-year-old son was at daycare, blissfully unaware that their little apartment, the only home he'd ever known, would soon be gone. She folded the paper and shoved it into her purse, fighting back tears. She couldn't break down now. Not here. Not where people could see. She'd already worked a double shift at the bakery, her fingers still dusted with flour, her back aching from hours of kneading dough. But she needed coffee. Just 5 minutes to breathe before picking up Tyler and pretending everything was fine. The cafe was warm and smelled like cinnamon and vanilla. Soft piano music played from hidden speakers, and the gentle murmur of conversation filled the space. Rochelle ordered a small coffee, counting out exact change from her wallet, and found a seat by the window. That's when she heard the small voice. "My shoe won't stay." Rochelle looked down to see a little girl, maybe 6 years old, with blonde curls and bright blue eyes. Her sneaker was untied, the laces dragging on the floor. The child looked frustrated, her small hands fumbling with the strings. "Here, sweetie, let me help you." Rochelle knelt down without thinking, her natural instinct to help kicking in. She tied the shoe in a double knot, making sure it was secure but not too tight. "There you go. That should stay put now." "Thank you." The little girl beamed. "My daddy usually does it, but his hands are shaking today." Rochelle glanced up and saw him. A man in a perfectly tailored navy suit stood a few feet away watching them. He looked about 35, with dark hair and striking blue eyes that seemed to carry a weight of their own. His hands were indeed trembling slightly as he held his coffee cup. Something about his expression caught her attention. He looked lost, despite the expensive clothes and confident posture. "Sophie, don't bother the nice lady," he said softly, moving closer. "She's not bothering me at all." Rochelle stood up, brushing off her jeans. They were old and worn, a stark contrast to the polished world this man clearly came from. "She's a sweetheart. Thank you for helping her." His voice was deep but gentle. "I'm Nathan. Nathan Pierce." Rochelle Bennett. They shook hands and she noticed how warm his hand was despite the trembling. He looked at her with an intensity that made her self-conscious. She was still in her bakery clothes, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, no makeup, exhausted. But he didn't seem to notice any of that. "Daddy, can I have a cookie?" Sophie tugged at Nathan's sleeve. "Of course, princess." He reached for his wallet, but his hands shook harder and he dropped it. Rochelle picked it up and handed it back to him. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. Nathan exhaled slowly, and for a moment, his carefully controlled expression cracked. "I've had a difficult morning. Sophie's nanny quit unexpectedly, my board meeting ran 4 hours over budget discussions and He paused, looking down at his daughter, who was now distracted by the pastry display. "I realized I've been doing everything alone for so long that I don't even remember what it's like to have someone to share things with." Rochelle didn't know what to say. This stranger was opening up to her in a way that felt both uncomfortable and strangely intimate. Nathan looked at her again, really looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. "I don't have a wife," he said suddenly. "Can I have a date with you?" The cafe seemed to go quiet. Or maybe it was just Rochelle's ears ringing. She stared at him, certain she'd misheard. "I'm sorry, what?" "I know this is unusual. I know you don't know me. But I've been in meeting after meeting today with people who only want something from me. People who smile and nod but don't see me as a person. And then I watched you help my daughter without a second thought, with genuine kindness, and He ran a hand through his hair, looking almost embarrassed. "I haven't felt this drawn to someone in 3 years. Not since my wife died." Rochelle's heart clenched. She understood loss. She understood loneliness. But this was crazy. He was clearly wealthy, powerful, successful. She was a bakery worker facing eviction. This didn't make sense. "I have a son," she said, testing him. "Tyler. He's 4. I'd love to meet him. I'm broke. I just got an eviction notice this morning." Nathan didn't flinch. "I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes and it's never made me happy. But helping people, connecting with people, that matters. Please, just one date. Let me get to know you. Let me help if you'll allow it." Rochelle's pride wanted her to say no. To walk away from this bizarre situation and handle her problems alone, the way she always had. But something in his eyes stopped her. He wasn't asking out of pity. He was asking because he was lonely just like her. Because he saw something in her that he needed. And maybe, just maybe, she needed this too. "Okay," she heard herself say. "One date." Nathan's entire face changed. The tension in his shoulders eased and he smiled. A real, genuine smile that made him look younger and less burdened. "Thank you. Can I have your number?" She gave it to him, still half convinced this was some kind of dream or mistake. He entered it into his phone with careful precision, then looked at her one more time. "I'll call you tonight. We'll plan something for this weekend if that works for you." "That works." Sophie came back with a chocolate chip cookie, munching happily. "Daddy, is this the lady coming to our house?" Nathan laughed softly. "Maybe, princess. Maybe." As Rochelle walked back to her car a few minutes later, coffee forgotten, she realized her hands had stopped shaking. The eviction notice was still in her purse, the problem still real, but something had shifted. For the first time in months, she felt a flicker of hope. Her phone buzzed before she even started the engine. A text from an unknown number. "This is Nathan. Thank you for saying yes. I promise I'm not as strange as that seemed. Well, maybe a little strange. But genuine. I'll call at 7 if that's okay." Rochelle found herself smiling as she typed back, "7 is fine. And for what it's worth, I think we're both a little strange. In a good way." She picked up Tyler from daycare and he chattered about his day, about the blocks he'd built and the song he'd learned. She listened, really listened, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. That night, after Tyler was asleep in his small bed in their soon-to-be former apartment, her phone rang at exactly 7 o'clock. "Hi," Nathan's voice came through, warm and a little nervous. "Hi," she replied, settling onto her worn couch. "I've been thinking about you all day." "Is that too forward to say?" "Maybe. But I've been thinking about you too, so I guess we're even." They talked for 2 hours. About everything and nothing. He told her about building his company from the ground up, about losing his wife to cancer when Sophie was 3, about how lonely success could be. She told him about working at the bakery since she was 18, about Tyler's father leaving when he found out she was pregnant, about her dreams of one day opening her own bakery. "What if you didn't have to wait?" Nathan asked. "What if I could help make that dream happen?" "Nathan, I can't. Please don't say you can't accept help. I'm not offering out of pity. I'm offering because I see your potential, and because helping you would make me happy. Let me be part of your dream." Rochelle closed her eyes and for once she didn't let her pride speak. "Okay. But I want to earn it. I want to work for it." "Deal. Now about our date. How do you feel about Italian food?" "I love it." "Perfect. Saturday night, 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up." "And Rochelle?" "Yes. Thank you for giving me a chance. I won't waste it." After they hung up, Rochelle sat in the quiet apartment, listening to the sounds of the city outside her window. Tomorrow she'd still have to figure out the eviction situation. Tomorrow she'd still have bills to pay and a son to feed. But tonight she had hope. And somehow that was enough. Have you ever met someone and felt like your life was about to change forever? Has someone's unexpected kindness ever restored your faith in people? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to hear how Rochelle and Nathan's story unfolds. Could this chance encounter really lead to something real, or will their different worlds tear them apart? Saturday arrived faster than Rochelle expected. She'd spent the week in a daze, going through the motions at work while her mind kept drifting to Nathan's voice on the phone. They'd talked every night since that first call, conversations that stretched past midnight, covering everything from favorite movies to childhood memories to fears about the future. But now, standing in front of her closet, reality hit hard. She had exactly 3 outfits that could possibly qualify as date-appropriate, and none of them seemed right for dinner with a billionaire CEO. Her hands trembled as she pulled out a burgundy dress she'd bought at a thrift store 2 years ago. It was simple, modest, but at least it was clean and didn't have any stains. Tyler sat on her bed, watching her with curious eyes. "Mama, why are you so nervous?" "I'm going to dinner with a friend, baby." "The man from the cafe? Sophie's daddy?" "Yes. Is that okay with you?" Tyler nodded seriously. He seemed nice. "Will Sophie be there?" "Not tonight. But maybe you can play with her another time." "Okay. Mama, you look pretty." Rochelle bent down and kissed his forehead. "Thank you, sweet boy. Mrs. Chun from next door is going to watch you tonight. Be good for her, okay?" At exactly 7 o'clock, her phone buzzed. Nathan was outside. She checked on Tyler one more time, grabbed her small purse and headed downstairs. Her apartment building looked even more run down in the evening light, with its cracked concrete steps and peeling paint. She half expected Nathan to have second thoughts when he saw where she lived. But when she stepped outside, he was standing next to a sleek black car, and his face lit up when he saw her. He wasn't in a suit tonight. Instead, he wore dark jeans and a crisp blue button-down shirt that made his eyes even more striking. He looked approachable, real. You look beautiful, he said, and the sincerity in his voice made her believe him. You look nice too. Well, see like. He laughed. That's the goal. Tonight I'm just Nathan, a single dad who's trying to remember how to do this. He opened the car door for her and she slid into the leather seat, trying not to feel overwhelmed by the luxury of it all. The car was spotless, the interior smelling like new leather and subtle cologne. But what caught her attention was the car seat in the back, covered in colorful stickers and crumbs. It made her smile. He wasn't just a CEO. He was a dad just like she was a mom. The restaurant he'd chosen wasn't the fancy, intimidating place she'd feared. Instead, it was a small Italian bistro tucked away on a quiet street, with warm lighting and the smell of garlic and fresh bread filling the air. The host greeted Nathan by name, leading them to a corner table that felt private and cozy. You come here often? Rochelle asked as she sat down. Sometimes. It's quiet and the owner is a friend. He knows I value privacy. Nathan settled across from her, and she noticed his hands were steady tonight. I wanted somewhere we could talk without interruption. Somewhere real. They ordered, Rochelle choosing the pasta primavera and Nathan getting lasagna. As they waited for the food, he leaned forward, his expression earnest. Tell me about Tyler. I want to know everything. So she did. She told him about Tyler's obsession with dinosaurs, how he insisted on wearing his rain boots even on sunny days, how he asked a million questions about everything. She told him about the hard moments too. About working 2 jobs when Tyler was a baby, about the nights she'd cried from exhaustion, about the guilt she felt for not being able to give him more. Nathan listened without interrupting, his eyes never leaving her face. When she finished, he reached across the table and took her hand. You're an incredible mother. Tyler is lucky to have you. Tell me about Sophie, she said, squeezing his hand before letting go. Nathan's expression softened. Sophie is my whole world. She's smart, curious, sometimes too brave for her own good. She loves art and animals and asks me at least once a week if we can get a puppy. He paused, his voice dropping. My wife, Amanda, died when Sophie was 3. Cancer. It happened so fast. One day Amanda had a headache and 6 months later she was gone. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Those first 2 years were. I don't know how we survived them. I threw myself into work because it was the only thing I knew how to control. But Sophie needed me and I had to learn how to be both parents. We figured it out, mostly. But she asks about her mom sometimes and I never know if I'm saying the right things. There probably aren't right things. Just honest things. That's wise. He smiled. You're wise. Their food arrived and the conversation shifted to lighter topics. They discovered they both loved old movies, hated mornings, and had terrible singing voices. Nathan told her about the time he tried to bake a birthday cake for Sophie and nearly set the kitchen on fire. Rochelle told him about Tyler's attempt to cut his own hair, which ended with him looking like a patchy sheep. As they laughed together, something clicked into place. This wasn't just a date. This was the beginning of something real. When dessert came, tiramisu they decided to share, Nathan grew more serious. Rochelle, I want to talk about your apartment situation. She tensed immediately. Nathan, Please let me finish. I'm not trying to overstep or make you uncomfortable. But I have resources that sit unused while people I care about struggle, and that doesn't sit right with me. I own several properties in the city. One of them is a small house, 3 bedrooms in a good school district. It's been empty for 6 months. I'd like you and Tyler to stay there. I can't afford. No rent. Just let me help. Rochelle's first instinct was to refuse. Pride demanded it. But she thought about Tyler, about giving him a real home with a yard, about not having to move every year when leases ended or rent increased. She thought about Nathan's words on their first phone call. Please don't say you can't accept help. She took a breath. Okay. But I want to help maintain it. Gardening, repairs, whatever needs doing. And someday when I'm more stable, I want to pay you back. Nathan's smile was brilliant. Deal. Though I have to warn you, the garden is a disaster. The previous tenant gave up on it. I love gardening. Tyler and I can fix it up. See? You're already earning your keep. He reached across the table again, and this time she met him halfway, their fingers intertwining. Thank you for letting me help. You have no idea how much that means to me. Why does it mean so much? She asked softly. Because after Amanda died, I felt useless. I had all this money and power, but I couldn't save her. I couldn't fix the one thing that mattered. Helping you, helping Tyler, it makes me feel like my resources actually mean something. Like I can make a difference in someone's life. Rochelle understood. She'd felt useless too, unable to provide everything Tyler needed. Maybe they could help each other find purpose again. They talked for another hour after finishing dessert, until the restaurant staff started giving them gentle hints that they needed to close. Nathan paid the bill and they walked back to his car slowly, neither wanting the evening to end. "I had a wonderful time tonight," Nathan said as they stood by the passenger door. "Can we do this again?" "Yes. Absolutely yes." "What about tomorrow? I could bring Sophie and we could all go to the park. Sophie and Tyler could meet. Tyler would love that." Nathan hesitated, then leaned in and kissed her cheek. It was brief, gentle, but it sent warmth through her entire body. "Tomorrow then. I'll text you the details." She watched him drive away, then climbed the stairs to her apartment, feeling like she was floating. Mrs. Chin reported that Tyler had been an angel, and after thanking her and paying her for the evening, Rochelle checked on her sleeping son. She stood in his doorway watching his chest rise and fall, and whispered a promise. "Things are going to get better, baby. I can feel it." Her phone buzzed. A text from Nathan, "Home safe." She replied, "Yes. Thank you for tonight. For everything. Thank you for saying yes. To all of it. Sleep well, Rochelle." She crawled into bed, exhausted but happy. Outside her window, the city hummed with its usual chaos, but inside she felt peaceful. Tomorrow they'd go to the park. Tomorrow Tyler would meet Sophie and Nathan. Tomorrow was a new beginning. And for the first time in 4 years, Rochelle let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, everything would work out. Sunday morning dawned bright and clear, the kind of perfect autumn day that makes everything feel possible. Rochelle dressed Tyler in his favorite red shirt and jeans, trying to calm the butterflies in her stomach. This wasn't just another playdate. This was Tyler meeting the man who might become part of their lives. "Is Sophie going to like me?" Tyler asked as they walked to the park, his small hand tucked in hers. "She's going to love you, baby. You're pretty lovable." Nathan had chosen Riverside Park, a sprawling green space with playgrounds, walking paths, and a small pond where ducks gathered. It was busy with families enjoying the weekend, children's laughter filling the air. Rochelle spotted Nathan and Sophie near the swings, and her heart did a little flip. Nathan wore jeans and a maroon sweater, looking relaxed and comfortable. Sophie was in a bright green dress with leggings, her blonde curls bouncing as she waved enthusiastically at them. Tyler pressed closer to Rochelle, suddenly shy. "You must be Tyler," Nathan said, crouching down to the boy's level. "Sophie has been talking about meeting you all morning. She's a little nervous too." Tyler peeked up at him. "She is. Very. Making new friends can be scary, right?" Tyler nodded slowly. Sophie stepped forward, clutching a small toy dinosaur. "I brought this for you. Daddy said you like dinosaurs." Tyler's eyes went wide. "You brought that for me? If you want it, we can share it today too." That was all it took. Tyler's shyness evaporated, and within minutes he and Sophie were running toward the playground, their laughter trailing behind them. Rochelle and Nathan followed at a slower pace, keeping them in sight. "That went easier than expected," Rochelle said, relief flooding through her. "Sophie's been asking about you all week. I think I mentioned you in passing on Tuesday and she latched onto it. Kept asking when she could meet Tyler's mom." "What did you tell her about me?" "The truth. That I met someone kind and beautiful, and that I wanted to spend more time with her." He glanced at her, his expression soft. "Is that okay?" "It's more than okay." They found a bench near the playground where they could watch the children. Sophie was showing Tyler how to use the monkey bars, while Tyler shared dinosaur facts in his enthusiastic, rambling way. They looked like they'd been friends forever. "They're good together," Nathan observed. "They are. Tyler doesn't usually warm up to people this fast. Neither does Sophie. She's been pretty guarded since Amanda died. But she seems comfortable with Tyler." They sat in companionable silence for a while, watching their children play. It felt natural, easy, like they'd done this 100 times before. Rochelle found herself imagining more days like this, more moments of simple happiness. "So," Nathan said after a while, "tell me about the bakery you work at. Do you like it there?" "I love the work. I love baking, the way bread rises, the smell of fresh pastries. But the owner, Mr. Johnson, is getting old and talking about selling. I'm worried about what happens then. The new owner might not keep the staff or might change everything." "What if you didn't have to worry about that? What if you had your own bakery?" Rochelle laughed. "That's a nice dream, but starting a business takes money I don't have. What if you had an investor? Someone who believed in your talent and wanted to help make it happen?" She turned to look at him fully. "Nathan, are you offering to finance a bakery for me?" "I'm offering to invest in you. I've been thinking about expanding my company into hospitality and food service. We own several commercial properties that would be perfect for a bakery. I need someone with passion and skill to run it. Why not you? Because I've never run a business before. Because I'd probably mess it up. Because you're scared? He said it gently without judgment. I get that. But Rochelle, you're already managing kitchen operations at Mr. Johnson's place. You know the work. You have the skills. What you need is the opportunity and the resources. Let me provide those. Rochelle's mind raced. Her own bakery. Her name on the sign. A place where she could create and control her own future. It was everything she'd ever wanted. But the fear was real. What if she failed? What if she let Nathan down? Think about it, Nathan said, sensing her hesitation. No pressure. But I believe in you even if you don't believe in yourself yet. Tyler came running over, Sophie right behind him. Mama, can we get ice cream? Please? Oh, I don't know, baby. My treat, Nathan offered. There's a stand right over there. What do you say, Sophie? Want some ice cream? Yes, please, Daddy. They walked to the ice cream stand, and Nathan insisted on paying despite Rochelle's protests. Tyler chose chocolate, Sophie got strawberry, and they sat at a picnic table while the children devoured their treats. Nathan got vanilla for himself and convinced Rochelle to try the mint chocolate chip. This is really good, she admitted, savoring the cool sweetness. Everything's better when shared with good company, Nathan said, and the way he looked at her made her feel like the most important person in the world. After ice cream, they walked around the pond, the children running ahead to chase ducks, gently after Nathan reminded them not to scare the birds. Sophie held Tyler's hand, chattering about her school and her art class. Tyler told her about his daycare and his best friend Marcus. His best friend Brandon, who he hadn't mentioned to Rochelle before. They're like siblings already, Rochelle murmured. Would that be so bad? Nathan asked quietly. She looked at him, seeing the hope in his eyes, the longing for something more than lonely dinners and business meetings. No, she said honestly. It wouldn't be bad at all. As the afternoon wore on, Tyler started to drag his feet, a sure sign he was getting tired. Sophie was yawning too, fighting to keep her eyes open. We should probably head home, Nathan said. But before we go, I want to show you something. He led them to his car and pulled out a folder from the trunk. Inside were photos of a house. A beautiful, modest house with blue siding, a front porch and a yard with overgrown flower beds. This is the place I mentioned. The 3-bedroom house. He showed them picture after picture. A cozy living room with a fireplace. A kitchen with space for a table. 2 bedrooms upstairs and one on the main floor. A backyard with an old swing set. Nathan, this is too much, Rochelle breathed. It's sitting empty. I'd rather have it filled with life and laughter. With you and Tyler. He looked at her seriously. Move in, please. Not as charity but as friends helping each other. You need a home and I need to know I'm making a difference. Let this be the start of something good for all of us. Rochelle looked at the photos, then at Tyler, who was leaning against her leg, nearly asleep standing up. She thought about their tiny apartment, about the eviction notice, about all the nights she'd worried about their future. And she thought about Nathan's words, let me help. Okay, she said. We'll move in. And thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Nathan's smile was radiant. Thank you for trusting me. How about next weekend? I can hire movers or we can do it ourselves if you prefer. Next weekend sounds perfect. They said their goodbyes with Sophie and Tyler exchanging sleepy waves. On the drive home, Tyler curled up in his seat and said softly, Mama, I like Nathan and Sophie. Can they be our family? Rochelle's eyes filled with tears. Maybe, baby. Maybe they can. That night, after putting Tyler to bed, she sat on her worn couch and looked around the apartment that had been home for 2 years. It wasn't much, but it had been theirs. Now they were moving on to something better, something brighter. She pulled out her phone and texted Nathan, Thank you for today. For everything. You and Sophie are already becoming family to us. His reply came quickly, You and Tyler are becoming family to us too. Sleep well. Dream big. Tomorrow we start planning your future. Rochelle did dream that night. She dreamed of a bakery with her name on the sign, of a house with a yard where Tyler could play, of Nathan and Sophie at the dinner table, of a life she'd stopped believing was possible. And for the first time in years, those dreams felt within reach. The week passed in a blur of packing, planning and phone calls. Nathan handled everything with the efficiency of someone used to making things happen. He arranged for movers, had the house cleaned and utilities turned on, and even bought new furniture for Tyler's room. a request Rochelle initially protested until Nathan explained that the spare bedroom furniture was in storage anyway. "You're making this too easy," Rochelle said during one of their nightly phone calls. "That's the point. You work hard enough as it is. Let me smooth the path a little." Moving day arrived on a Saturday morning. The movers Nathan hired were professional and kind, treating Rochelle's modest belongings with the same care they'd give expensive antiques. Tyler watched in fascination as his toys and clothes were packed into boxes, chattering nonstop about the new house. Nathan and Sophie arrived just as the moving truck was being loaded. Sophie carried a small plant with a red bough tied around the pot. "Daddy said new houses need a welcome gift," Sophie announced, presenting the plant to Rochelle. "This one is easy to take care of. It likes sunshine. It's perfect. Thank you, sweetheart." Rochelle accepted the plant, touched by the gesture. Nathan had coffee and breakfast sandwiches for everyone, insisting Rochelle eat before the chaos of moving began. They sat on her apartment steps one last time, watching the movers work, and Nathan asked, "Are you nervous?" "A little. This is a big change. Change can be good. And you're not doing it alone." The drive to the new house took 20 minutes. Rochelle's breath caught when they turned onto Oak Street and she saw it in person for the first time. The photos hadn't done it justice. The house was charming, with its blue siding and white trim, flower boxes under the windows, currently empty but full of potential, and a wooden porch with space for chairs. "Mama, is this really ours?" Tyler asked, awe in his voice. "Yes, baby. This is our new home." The moving truck pulled up and the organized chaos began. Nathan helped direct furniture placement, hefting boxes alongside the movers despite his expensive clothes. Sophie and Tyler explored every corner of the house, their excited voices echoing through the empty rooms. By afternoon, the major furniture was in place. Rochelle stood in her new kitchen, running her hand over the clean counters, barely believing this was real. The kitchen was twice the size of her old one, with space for all her baking supplies and room to actually move around. She could already imagine the bread she'd make here, the cookies she'd bake for Tyler. Nathan found her there, leaning against the doorframe with a soft smile. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking this doesn't feel real. 2 weeks ago I was facing eviction. Now I'm in this beautiful house and I keep waiting to wake up." "It's real. You're here. You deserve this." He stepped into the kitchen. "Speaking of new beginnings, I have something for you." He pulled out another folder, this one containing detailed plans for a bakery. Floor layouts, equipment lists, budget projections. "I've been working with my commercial properties team. There's a space downtown, corner lot, lots of foot traffic. It used to be a coffee shop, so the kitchen is already partially equipped. I'd like you to design the rest." Rochelle took the folder with shaking hands. "Nathan, Before you say anything, let me explain the proposal. This is a business arrangement. I'll provide the capital and the space. You'll run the operations, hire staff, develop the menu. We'll split profits 60-40 in your favor once we're in the black. You'll have complete creative control over the bakery's direction. I just want to invest in something real, something that makes the community better." "Why 60-40 in my favor?" "You're the one providing everything. Because you're the one doing the work. You're the talent. I'm just the money. And Rochelle, money is the easy part." He moved closer, his expression earnest. "I've spent years making money, building companies, winning deals. It's all felt hollow. But this, helping you build something you're passionate about, it feels meaningful. Please say yes." Rochelle looked at the plans, at the space that could become hers, at the future laid out in neat architectural drawings. Every logical part of her brain screamed caution, but her heart whispered something else. "Trust him. Take the chance." "Yes," she said. "Yes, I'll do it." Nathan's face lit up. "Really? Really? But I'm going to work harder than I've ever worked. I'm going to make this bakery the best in the city. And I'm going to make you proud you invested in me." "I'm already proud. And Rochelle, I believe in you completely." They stood there in the kitchen, the moment heavy with promise, until Sophie's voice called from upstairs, "Daddy, come see Tyler's room. It's so cool." They spent the rest of the afternoon unpacking, setting up rooms, and making the house feel like a home. Nathan hung curtains in Tyler's room while Rochelle organized the kitchen cabinets. Sophie and Tyler arranged Tyler's toys, creating elaborate scenes with dinosaurs and stuffed animals. As evening approached, Nathan ordered pizza for everyone. They sat on the living room floor, still surrounded by boxes, eating straight from the box and laughing at Sophie's jokes. It felt domestic, comfortable, like a real family dinner. "This is nice," Nathan said quietly as the children played in the corner. I'd forgotten what it feels like to have a home, not just a house. You have a beautiful home, Rochelle protested. I have a big empty house that Sophie and I rattle around in. This, here with you and Tyler, this feels like home. Their eyes met, and Rochelle felt that pull again, the magnetic attraction that had been building since the cafe. Before she could overthink it, she reached out and touched his hand. Thank you for this. For all of it. I know I keep saying thank you, but I don't know how else to express what this means. You don't have to keep thanking me. Just being part of your life is thanks enough. He turned his hand over, lacing his fingers with hers. I want to be here, Rochelle. For you and Tyler. If you'll let me. I'd like that. Tyler adores you already. And I adore him. He's a great kid. You've done an amazing job raising him. They sat there, hands clasped, while the children played and the house settled into its new life. Eventually, Nathan had to leave to get Sophie ready for bed, but he lingered at the door, clearly reluctant to go. Breakfast tomorrow? He asked. I'll bring bagels and we can talk more about the bakery plans. That sounds perfect. After they left, Rochelle tucked Tyler into his new bed, with its new sheets decorated with dinosaurs, a gift from Nathan, of course. Tyler snuggled into the blankets, his eyes already drooping. Mama, I love our new house. And I love Nathan and Sophie. Is it okay to love them? It's very okay, baby. They love you too. Are they going to stay with us forever? I don't know about forever. But they're part of our lives now, and that's pretty special, isn't it? Tyler nodded, satisfied, and within minutes was asleep. Rochelle stood at his doorway, watching him breathe, and felt her heart swell with gratitude. Everything was changing, but for once, the change felt right. She finished unpacking the essentials, set up Sophie's welcome plant on the kitchen windowsill, and finally collapsed onto her new couch. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. Home with Sophie. She fell asleep in the car. Thank you for letting us be part of your moving day. It meant everything. Sleep well in your beautiful new home. Rochelle replied, thank you for making it possible. See you in the morning. Good night, Nathan. She turned off the lights and climbed the stairs to her own new bedroom, larger and brighter than any space she'd had before. As she lay in bed, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of her new house settling, she smiled. This was just the beginning. The bakery was next, and with Nathan's support and belief in her, she felt like she could accomplish anything. Tomorrow would bring new plans and new dreams. But tonight, she simply rested, grateful for second chances and unexpected kindness, for a billionaire CEO who saw her worth when she'd almost forgotten it herself. 3 months passed in a whirlwind of activity. Rochelle threw herself into designing the bakery with a passion she'd forgotten she possessed. Nathan gave her complete freedom, showing up only when she asked for input, always supportive, never overbearing. They met twice a week to discuss progress, and those meetings often stretched into long dinners where they talked about everything but business. The relationship between their families deepened naturally. Sophie and Tyler became inseparable, having playdates at least 3 times a week. Nathan and Rochelle fell into an easy rhythm of shared parenting, picking up each other's children from school or daycare, coordinating schedules, and spending evenings together. The bakery space transformed from an empty shell into something magical. Rochelle chose warm, inviting colors, cream walls with accents of soft blue and sage green. She selected display cases that would show off the pastries beautifully, ordered professional-grade ovens that made her giddy with excitement, and designed a layout that would allow customers to watch bakers at work through large windows. She named it Rise and Shine Bakery, a simple name that captured both the baking process and her own journey of rising from difficult circumstances into something bright. One evening, while she and Nathan reviewed the final equipment orders in her living room, Tyler and Sophie playing quietly in the next room, Nathan asked, "Are you nervous about opening day?" "Terrified. What if nobody comes? What if my baking isn't good enough? What if I've wasted all your money?" Nathan set down the paperwork and took her hands. "Rochelle, I've seen you work. I've tasted your food. You're incredible. The bakery is going to be a success because you're running it. But even if it struggles at first, we'll figure it out together. That's what partners do." "Partners?" she repeated softly. The word felt significant, weighted with meaning beyond business. "Yes, partners." He squeezed her hands gently. "In business and, I hope, in life." Before she could respond, her phone rang. Mr. Johnson from the bakery where she'd worked for 10 years. "Rochelle, I need to tell you something. I sold the bakery. The new owner is taking over next week and he's bringing his own staff. I'm so sorry." After the call ended, Rochelle sat in stunned silence. She'd known this was coming eventually, but the reality of losing her job hit hard. She'd given 10 years to that place. What happened? Nathan asked gently. She explained, fighting tears. I know I have the new bakery coming, but that doesn't open for another month. What do I do until then? I have bills, Nathan. I can't just not work. Actually, you can. I've been meaning to discuss this with you. I'd like to put you on salary starting immediately. You'll be working full-time getting Rise and Shine ready to open, training staff, perfecting recipes. Consider it part of our business arrangement. Nathan, that's too much. It's not too much. Smart business. I need you focused on making the bakery perfect, not worried about paying your electric bill. Please let me do this. She wanted to argue, but she saw the determination in his eyes. More than that, she saw the care. He wasn't offering charity. He was offering partnership, support, belief in her abilities. She'd been accepting his help for months now, and each time he'd proven trustworthy. Okay, she said. But I'm earning every penny. This bakery is going to be amazing. I know it will be. The next 4 weeks were a blur of activity. Rochelle hired a small staff, 2 bakers, a front counter manager, and a part-time assistant. She trained them in her techniques, perfected recipes for everything from basic bread to elaborate pastries, and created a menu that balanced traditional favorites with creative new offerings. Nathan was there for all of it, even when he didn't need to be. He helped paint the bakery walls one weekend, showing up in old jeans and a faded blue t-shirt, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. He taste-tested every recipe, offering honest feedback and enthusiastic praise. He brought Sophie and Tyler to see the progress, letting them feel part of the process. Why are you doing all this? Rochelle asked one night as they cleaned up after a long day of recipe testing. You could have just provided the money and walked away. Why are you so involved? Nathan paused, wiping down a counter. Because this matters. You matter. I've spent 20 years building a company that makes money and I'm good at it. But I never felt like it mattered beyond the bottom line. This, helping you build something from the ground up, seeing your face light up when a recipe turns out perfect, that matters. You've reminded me why I got into business in the first place, to create something meaningful. You're pretty amazing, Nathan Pierce. I'm just a guy who got lucky enough to meet you. He set down the cloth and moved closer. Rochelle, I need to tell you something. These past few months, getting to know you, seeing you with Tyler and Sophie, working on this dream together, I've realized something. I'm falling in love with you. Actually, I think I've been falling since that day in the cafe. Rochelle's heart hammered in her chest. She'd felt it too, this growing connection, this deepening bond. But hearing him say it out loud made it real, terrifying, and wonderful all at once. I'm falling in love with you too, she admitted. I've been trying to keep this professional, but I can't help it. You're kind and generous and you make me believe in myself. You've given me and Tyler so much. You've given me more. You've given me a reason to come home at night. You've given Sophie a mother figure who genuinely cares about her. You've given me hope that life can be good again, that I can be happy again. He reached up and cupped her face gently. Can I kiss you? Really kiss you? Yes. The kiss was slow and sweet, full of promise and possibility. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. So what now? Rochelle asked. Now we keep doing what we're doing. Building the bakery, building our relationship, building a life together. He grinned. But maybe with more kissing. She laughed. I can agree to that. Opening day for Rise and Shine Bakery arrived 2 weeks later. Rochelle was up at 4 in the morning, her stomach a knot of nerves and excitement. Nathan arrived at 5 with Sophie and Tyler in tow, all of them ready to help however they could. By 9 o'clock, when they unlocked the doors, a line had formed outside. Word had spread about the new bakery, thanks to some strategic social media posts Nathan had helped arrange. Customers poured in, exclaiming over the beautiful space, the delicious smells, the warm atmosphere. Rochelle worked behind the counter, greeting customers, explaining menu items, watching as her team executed everything perfectly. Nathan handled the register, his business background making him a natural. Sophie and Tyler handed out sample cookies to customers, their enthusiasm infectious. By noon, they'd sold out of half their inventory. By 3 they were nearly empty. When they finally closed the doors at 6, exhausted and exhilarated, Rochelle looked around at the empty display cases and felt a surge of triumph. We did it, she breathed. You did it, Nathan corrected. This is all you, Rochelle. Your recipes, your vision, your hard work. Her staff had already left, and the children were in the small office area, watching a movie on Tyler's tablet. Nathan and Rochelle stood in the middle of the bakery, the evening sun streaming through the windows, and he pulled her into his arms. I'm so proud of you. Watching you today, seeing you in your element, it was incredible. You're incredible. I couldn't have done this without you. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I just saw what was already there. The talent, the passion, the determination. I just gave you the opportunity to show the world. He kissed her forehead. This is just the beginning. Rise and Shine is going to be the best bakery in the city. We're going to be the best, she corrected. Partners, remember? Partners, he agreed and kissed her again, this time deeper, full of love and pride and joy. From the office they heard Tyler's voice. Are they kissing again? And Sophie's delighted response. Yes. Does that mean we're going to be a real family? Nathan and Rochelle broke apart, laughing. I think the kids have figured us out, he said. I think they knew before we did. They called the children out, and the four of them locked up the bakery together, turning off lights and setting the alarm. As they walked to Nathan's car in the fading sunlight, Tyler took Sophie's hand and Sophie took Nathan's, while Rochelle held Tyler's other hand. They formed a chain, connected, a makeshift family that felt more real than any traditional arrangement. Ice cream to celebrate? Nathan suggested. A chorus of yes from the children sealed it. They drove to the nearby ice cream shop, and as they sat together sharing stories about the day, laughing and planning for tomorrow, Rochelle felt a contentment she'd never experienced before. This was her life now. A successful business, a beautiful home, a man who loved her, and children who were happy and thriving. It was more than she'd ever dared to dream. And it was real, built on a foundation of kindness, trust, and the courage to accept help when it was offered. Do you believe in second chances? Have you ever been afraid to accept help, only to find out it was exactly what you needed? Share your story in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to see what happens next for Rochelle and Nathan. Because while the bakery is thriving and love is blooming, not everyone is happy about their success. Autumn deepened into early winter, and Rise and Shine Bakery became a neighborhood favorite. Lines formed before opening every morning, and Rochelle's special cinnamon rolls became so popular she had to double production. The business was thriving, and so was Rochelle's relationship with Nathan. They'd fallen into a comfortable rhythm as a couple. Nathan came by the bakery every morning for coffee and whatever pastry Rochelle recommended. They had dinner together most nights, alternating between Rochelle's house and Nathan's much larger home. The children treated both places as their own, comfortable and happy in either location. But they hadn't defined what they were to each other beyond partners, and those stolen kisses when the children weren't looking. Until the night of the Harvest Festival. The community center organized an annual fall festival with carnival games, food trucks, and a small petting zoo. Nathan suggested they all go together, a proper family outing. Sophie and Tyler were ecstatic, talking about it for days in advance. The night of the festival was crisp and cool, the air smelling of fallen leaves and caramel apples. Rochelle dressed in jeans and a red sweater, feeling pretty and relaxed. Nathan picked them up, looking casually handsome in dark jeans and a green flannel shirt. You look beautiful, he said when she opened the door. You look pretty good yourself. The festival was magical. Lights strung between trees, laughter echoing across the grounds, children running with sticky fingers and bright eyes. They played games, won a stuffed tiger for Sophie and a plastic sword for Tyler, and ate too much fair food. As evening deepened and the children's energy finally began to flag, Nathan suggested they take a walk while Sophie and Tyler rested on a bench with juice boxes. They strolled along the quieter edge of the festival grounds, away from the crowds, their hands brushing occasionally. This is nice, Rochelle said. I can't remember the last time I felt this relaxed. You deserve to relax. You've been working yourself to the bone with the bakery. I love it though. Every exhausting minute of it. They walked in comfortable silence for a moment before Nathan stopped, turning to face her. Rochelle, I need to talk to you about something. Her heart skipped. Okay. These past few months have been the happiest I've been since Amanda died. Maybe even happier than before if I'm being honest. You've brought light back into my life and Sophie's. Every morning I wake up excited because I know I'll see you. Every night I go to bed grateful because you're part of my world. He took both her hands. I'm in love with you. Deeply, completely in love with you. And I don't want to keep pretending this is just a convenient arrangement or a partnership. I want more. Rochelle's eyes filled with tears. What do you want? I want you to be my girlfriend. I want everyone to know we're together. I want to wake up next to you and fall asleep holding you. I want to build a life with you and our children. I want everything. He cupped her face gently. What do you want? I want that too, she whispered. All of it. I love you, Nathan. I think I've loved you since you asked me out in that cafe. You saw me when I was invisible. You believed in me when I'd given up. You've been patient and kind and generous, and I love you so much it scares me. Don't be scared. I've got you. I've got us." He kissed her then, not the quick pecks they'd shared before, but a real kiss, deep and passionate and full of promise. Rochelle melted into it, wrapping her arms around his neck, feeling his arms tight around her waist. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard, foreheads pressed together. "So we're doing this?" she asked. "We're really together?" "We're really together. You're my girlfriend and I'm your boyfriend and I'm never letting you go." "Good. Because I'm not going anywhere." They walked back to the children hand in hand, not bothering to hide their connection anymore. Sophie and Tyler looked up from their juice boxes, and Sophie's face split into a huge grin. "Daddy, you're holding hands with Miss Rochelle?" "I am. Is that okay with you?" "It's perfect. Does this mean she's your girlfriend?" "Yes, princess. Rochelle is my girlfriend." Tyler looked at Rochelle. "Does that mean Nathan is your boyfriend?" "Yes, baby. Is that okay with you?" Tyler thought about it seriously, then nodded. "Yeah, he's nice. And he makes you smile a lot." Sophie jumped up. "We should have a party to celebrate." "Let's go home and have hot chocolate," Nathan suggested. "We can toast to new beginnings." They drove back to Nathan's house, the larger of their two homes, with its spacious kitchen and cozy living room. While Nathan made hot chocolate, Rochelle helped the children change into pajamas they kept at his house now. When they all gathered in the living room, mugs in hand, Nathan raised his cup. "To Rochelle and Tyler for making our family complete. To Sophie for being the best daughter a father could ask for. And to love, which finds us when we least expect it but most need it." They clinked their mugs together and Rochelle felt tears prick her eyes again. This was her family now. Not perfect, not traditional, but real and full of love. After the children fell asleep on the couch, exhausted from the festival, Nathan carried Sophie to her room while Rochelle tucked Tyler into the guest room that had essentially become his second bedroom. They met back in the living room and Nathan pulled Rochelle down onto the couch beside him. "Stay," he said simply. "Stay tonight. Not in the guest room but here with me. No pressure, just stay." "Okay," she agreed, feeling nervous and excited. "I'll stay." They stayed up late talking, curled together on the couch, sharing stories and dreams and fears. Nathan told her about his worries of failing Sophie, of never being enough. Rochelle told him about her fears of not being a good enough mother to Tyler, of someday losing everything she'd built. "We're enough," Nathan assured her. "Together we're more than enough." They fell asleep on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms, and when morning came, Rochelle woke to find Nathan watching her with soft eyes. "Morning," he murmured. "Morning. How long have you been awake?" "A while. I was just watching you sleep and thinking how lucky I am." "I'm the lucky one." "We're both lucky." Sophie and Tyler appeared in the doorway, still in their pajamas, and Sophie announced, "Daddy's making pancakes. He said we're celebrating." "Celebrating what?" Tyler asked. "Celebrating being a family," Nathan said, standing and offering Rochelle his hand. "Come on, girlfriend. Let's make breakfast together." The word girlfriend sent a thrill through her. They made pancakes together, the children helping pour batter and flip with supervision, and the kitchen filled with laughter and the smell of maple syrup. It was domestic and wonderful and everything Rochelle had never known she wanted. Over the next few weeks, they settled into their new relationship. Nathan introduced Rochelle as his girlfriend at business events, and she felt pride seeing how naturally he included her in his world. She introduced him to her few close friends, who immediately loved him and approved wholeheartedly. The bakery continued to thrive, and Nathan was there for every milestone. The first time they had to hire additional staff, the first big catering order, the first feature in a local food magazine. He celebrated her success as if it were his own, and she leaned on him when things got stressful. One night, lying in bed at her house, Nathan had started staying over regularly. Rochelle traced patterns on his chest and said, "I need to tell you something." "Anything." "I've been thinking about the future. About us. And I want you to know that I see a long future with you. I see marriage and more children and growing old together. I'm not rushing anything and I don't need promises right now, but I wanted you to know where my heart is." Nathan rolled over to face her, his expression serious. "My heart is in the same place. I want to marry you, Rochelle. I want you to be my wife and Sophie's mom. I want to adopt Tyler and make him legally mine. I want to have more children with you if you want that. I want everything." He kissed her forehead. "I'm not rushing either, but I want you to know, this isn't temporary for me. You're my future. You're my future too." They held each other in the darkness, comfortable in their commitment, excited for what lay ahead. Outside, the world continued its chaos, but inside, wrapped in each other's arms, everything was peaceful and right. Love had found them in a cafe when they least expected it. Now it was growing, deepening, becoming the foundation of a life neither had dared to imagine. And the best part? They both knew this was just the beginning. The knock on Rochelle's door came on a Tuesday evening, just as she was cleaning up from dinner. Nathan had gone home to grab some paperwork, planning to return later. Tyler was watching a cartoon in the living room. She opened the door expecting a delivery or a neighbor. Instead, she found Jerome standing on her porch. Tyler's father. The man who'd walked out when she was 6 months pregnant, claiming he wasn't ready for fatherhood. She hadn't seen him in nearly 5 years, hadn't heard from him in 4. And now here he was, looking older but recognizable, wearing jeans and a blue jacket. "Rochelle," he said, and his voice was exactly as she remembered. "Can we talk? What are you doing here?" Her hand tightened on the door frame. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I've been getting my life together and I want to be part of Tyler's life. I want to meet my son." Rochelle's first instinct was to slam the door. Her second was to scream. But she did neither. Instead, she stepped onto the porch and pulled the door mostly closed behind her. "You can't just show up after 5 years and expect to be welcomed back." "I know. I was young and stupid and scared. I messed up. But I'm different now. I have a steady job, a stable place to live. I'm ready to be a father. Tyler doesn't know you. He's never asked about you because I told him you weren't around. He's fine without you. We're both fine. I saw the article. About your bakery. I saw you with that guy, the rich one. You're doing well and I'm happy for you. But I should be part of Tyler's life. I'm his father." Before Rochelle could respond, Nathan's car pulled into her driveway. He got out, taking in the scene immediately. Rochelle tense on the porch, a strange man standing too close to her. He approached quickly, his expression alert. "Everything okay?" Nathan asked, positioning himself between Rochelle and Jerome. "Who are you?" Jerome demanded. "Nathan Pierce. Rochelle's boyfriend. And you are?" "Jerome. Tyler's father." The air went tense. Nathan glanced at Rochelle, who nodded slightly, confirming Jerome's identity. Nathan's expression hardened. "I see. And you're here because I want to see my son. Be part of his life. This is between Rochelle and me. It doesn't concern you. Everything concerning Rochelle and Tyler concerns me. They're my family." Jerome's expression darkened. "Family? You've known them what, a few months?" "I'm Tyler's blood. Blood doesn't make a family. Being there does." "Where were you when Tyler was born?" "When he was sick. When Rochelle was working 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads. Being a father isn't about biology. It's about showing up. And you didn't." "Nathan," Rochelle said softly, touching his arm. "Let's all calm down." Jerome looked at her. "I want to see Tyler. Just for a few minutes. Please, Rochelle. I need to at least meet him." Every protective instinct Rochelle had screamed no. But she also knew Jerome had legal rights as Tyler's biological father. If she refused outright, he could go to court and that would be messier for everyone. "Not tonight," she said firmly. "Tyler doesn't know you. Seeing you suddenly would confuse him. If you're serious about this, we need to do it properly. With a lawyer present." "A lawyer?" Jerome looked offended. "Yes. To establish what's best for Tyler. To make sure this isn't just a whim. To protect everyone involved." She straightened her shoulders. "I'm not the 23-year-old girl you walked out on, Jerome. I'm a mother, a business owner, and I have people who support me now. If you want any kind of relationship with Tyler, it will be on terms that prioritize his well-being, not your guilt or sudden paternal urges." Jerome stared at her, seeming to see for the first time how much she'd changed. "Fine. Get a lawyer. But I'm not giving up on this. Then prove you're serious. Get a stable job if you don't have one. Get your own place. Show me you've actually changed. And then we'll talk about supervised visits, nothing more." "Supervised? He's my son. He's a child who doesn't know you. I'm not letting him be alone with a stranger, blood or not." Her voice was firm, unwavering. "This is my final offer. Take it or take your chances in family court. But I'm warning you, I have resources now and people who will support me. You won't win a fight against me." Jerome looked at Nathan, who stared back unflinchingly, then back at Rochelle. "Okay, I'll prove myself. But I'm not going away. I wouldn't expect you to. Just remember, Tyler comes first. Not your feelings, not your regrets. Tyler's well-being is all that matters." After Jerome left, Rochelle's legs nearly gave out. Nathan caught her, guiding her to the porch steps and sitting beside her. That was incredibly brave. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. You set clear boundaries. You protected Tyler. You didn't let him intimidate you. That's brave. He put his arm around her. And you're not dealing with this alone. I'll help with the lawyer, with supervised visits if they happen, with all of it. Nathan, this isn't your problem. Yes, it is. Because you and Tyler are my family. When we're together, your problems are my problems, your battles are my battles. He turned her to face him. Let me help. Please. Don't shut me out because you think you have to handle this alone. Rochelle took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll let you help. Because honestly, I don't know how to handle this on my own. You don't have to know. We'll figure it out together. They called Nathan's lawyer the next day. Elizabeth Chen was a sharp family law attorney who'd handled Nathan's custody arrangements with Amanda's parents after she died. She listened to Rochelle's story carefully, took notes, and laid out their options. He has a legal right to petition for visitation, but given his absence for Tyler's entire life, a judge would likely start with supervised visits only. If he's serious about being involved, he'll have to prove stability and commitment over time. Elizabeth looked at Rochelle kindly. The good news is you're in a strong position. You're Tyler's primary caregiver, you've provided a stable home, and you have character witnesses who can attest to your parenting. The court will prioritize Tyler's best interests, which means minimizing disruption to his life. What if he takes us to court? Rochelle asked. Then we fight. And we win. But my guess is he'll either lose interest when he realizes how much work involved parenting actually is, or he'll accept the terms you've set. Most parents in his position do one or the other. Jerome did reach out again through proper channels this time. He requested supervised visitation, and after several weeks of legal back and forth, they established a plan, 2 hours every other Saturday at a neutral location with a professional supervisor present. The first visit was at a family services center. Rochelle brought Tyler, who was confused and nervous. Nathan came along for support, waiting in the car during the actual visit. Mama, who is that man? Tyler asked, holding her hand tightly. His name is Jerome. He's someone who knew you when you were a baby. He wants to get to know you now. Do I have to? Let's just meet him once and see how it goes. If you're uncomfortable, we can leave. The visit was awkward but peaceful. Jerome brought a toy truck, which Tyler accepted politely but without enthusiasm. They colored together under the supervisor's watchful eye, making stilted conversation. Tyler kept looking at the door, clearly wanting to leave. After an hour, Rochelle ended the visit, claiming Tyler was tired. In the car, Tyler crawled into Nathan's lap in the back seat and said, I don't like him. He's weird. You don't have to like him, buddy, Nathan said gently. But your mom wants to make sure you have the chance to know him in case that's important to you someday. Can you be my dad instead? I like you better. Nathan's eyes met Rochelle's in the rearview mirror, both of them emotional. I'd be honored to be your dad, Tyler. If that's what you want and what your mom wants. Is it okay, Mama? It's very okay, baby. After 3 visits, Jerome called Rochelle and said honestly, I'm not ready for this. I thought I was, but being around Tyler just makes me feel guilty and anxious. He's a great kid, but he doesn't need me. He has you and Nathan. Maybe someday I'll be ready, but not now. Rochelle felt relief wash over her. Okay. If you change your mind in the future, we can revisit this. But right now I think you're right. Tyler is happy and stable, and that's what matters most. For what it's worth, you did a great job raising him alone. I'm sorry I wasn't there to help. Thank you for saying that. Take care of yourself, Jerome. After the call ended, she sat on her couch and cried, releasing months of tension. Nathan found her there, pulled her into his arms and held her while she sobbed. It's over, she said when she could speak again. He's backing off peacefully. Because you were strong. You protected Tyler and stood your ground. I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you. Having you there, knowing you had my back, that made all the difference. That's what love is. Being there when it matters most. She pulled back to look at him. I've never had that before. Someone who stands with me instead of running when things get hard. It means everything. You'll have it for the rest of your life. I'm not going anywhere. They told Tyler that evening that Jerome wouldn't be coming around anymore. Tyler's relief was visible. Then Nathan sat down with him and said, Your mom and I have been talking. If it's okay with you, I'd like to start the process of becoming your legal dad. Not to replace anyone, but to make official what's already true, that I love you and want to be your father in every way. Really? Tyler's eyes went wide. Really? Would you like that? Tyler launched himself at Nathan, wrapping his small arms around Nathan's neck. Yes. I want you to be my dad. Rochelle watched them, her heart full, and knew that facing her past had been necessary to fully embrace her future. Jerome's appearance had been scary, but it had also shown her how far she'd come and how strong she'd become. And it had shown her that Nathan's love wasn't conditional or fleeting. He was in this for the long haul, committed to her and Tyler completely. Later that night, after Tyler was asleep, Nathan and Rochelle sat on her back porch, looking at the stars. That was a rough few weeks, Nathan said. But we made it through. We did. Together. Together, she agreed and sealed it with a kiss that tasted like promise and forever. The invitation arrived on elegant cream cardstock with gold lettering. The Riverside Annual Charity Gala. Nathan showed it to Rochelle one evening at the bakery, looking slightly apologetic. I know these things aren't your favorite, but this one is important. My company is one of the main sponsors and I'm expected to attend. He took her hand. Will you come with me? As my date. Rochelle looked at the invitation, her stomach fluttering with nerves. Nathan, that's your world. Billionaires and board members and people in designer clothes. I don't know if I belong there. You belong anywhere I am. And these people need to meet you, see what I see. Someone brilliant and kind who's building something meaningful. He squeezed her hand. I want you there, Rochelle. I want everyone to know you're the most important person in my life. How could she say no to that? Okay, I'll go. But I'll need a dress. Already taken care of. At her surprised look, he grinned. I may have presumed. There's a boutique downtown and the owner is a friend. She's expecting you tomorrow for a fitting. Everything's been arranged. Nathan. I know I'm overstepping. But please let me do this. Treat it as a business expense since you're going as my partner. The next day, Rochelle went to the boutique with Sophie in tow, nervous but also a little excited. The owner, Mariah, was warm and welcoming, showing them dress after dress. Sophie gave enthusiastic opinions on each one, and finally they found it, an emerald green gown that fit Rochelle perfectly. It had a modest neckline, elegant lines, and made her feel beautiful. That's the one, Mariah declared. You look stunning. Sophie clapped. Miss Rochelle, you look like a princess. Rochelle hardly recognized herself in the mirror. The dress transformed her from a baker in flour-dusted clothes to someone sophisticated and confident. Nathan paid for this? He did. And before you protest, he was very clear that this was important to him. He wants you to feel as beautiful as you are. The night of the gala, Rochelle was a bundle of nerves. Nathan picked her up, looking devastatingly handsome in a tailored black suit. When he saw her in the dress, his expression went soft. You're breathtaking, he breathed. Absolutely breathtaking. You clean up pretty well yourself. They drove to the event at a luxury hotel downtown. The ballroom was magnificent, with crystal chandeliers, elegant table settings, and a who's who of the city's elite. Rochelle felt out of place immediately, but Nathan kept his hand on the small of her back, grounding her. Breathe, he murmured. You've got this. And I've got you. The evening started well. Nathan introduced her to business associates and friends, all of whom were polite and welcoming. She talked about the bakery, answering questions about how she got started and what made Rise and Shine special. Some people seemed genuinely interested. Others were clearly just being polite. Then they ran into Gordon Walsh. Gordon was Nathan's age, with graying hair and cold eyes. He approached their table during dinner, drink in hand, his smile not reaching his eyes. Nathan. Good to see you. And this must be the famous baker everyone's talking about. Rochelle Bennett, Nathan said, his tone carefully neutral. Rochelle, this is Gordon Walsh. He owns Walsh Industries. Ah yes, the bakery girl. I've heard quite a bit about you. Gordon's tone was condescending. Must be quite the change from serving pastries to attending galas with the city's elite. Rochelle felt her face heat but kept her composure. It's different certainly. But I'm proud of the work I do. Of course. And it's admirable that Nathan is helping small business owners. Very charitable of him. The implication was clear, that Rochelle was a charity case, not a legitimate partner. Nathan's expression hardened. Rochelle isn't a charity case. She's a brilliant businesswoman who's created something special. Rise and Shine is already profitable and growing. If anything, I'm lucky she agreed to let me invest. Still, must be nice having a billionaire boyfriend to smooth the way. Not everyone has that advantage. Gordon sipped his drink. Tell me, Miss Bennett, How does it feel knowing people wonder if you're with Nathan for his money? Gordon, Nathan said sharply, standing up. That's enough. But Rochelle put her hand on Nathan's arm, gently pushing him back into his seat. She looked Gordon directly in the eye. People can wonder whatever they want. I know why I'm with Nathan and he knows. We don't need to justify our relationship to anyone, certainly not to someone who seems more interested in tearing people down than building anything meaningful. Gordon's smile faltered. Rochelle continued, her voice steady. I'm with Nathan because he's kind, because he believes in people, because he makes me want to be better. The money has nothing to do with it. In fact, if Nathan lost everything tomorrow, I'd still love him just as much. Can you say the same about the relationships in your life? Do people love you for who you are or for what you have? The table had gone quiet. Gordon's face reddened. You're quite bold for someone so far out of her depth. I'm not out of my depth. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Next to a good man who sees value beyond bank accounts and business deals. Now if you'll excuse us, Gordon, we have better company to enjoy. Nathan stood, offering Rochelle his hand, and they walked away together. Several people at nearby tables nodded approvingly at Rochelle. Once they were out of earshot, Nathan pulled her aside, his eyes shining. That was incredible. You were incredible. He made me angry. Nobody talks about you like that, like you're just an open wallet. Nobody's ever defended me like that before. Not even. He paused, then continued. Amanda would have just left, avoided the confrontation. But you stood up for us, for our relationship. You were magnificent. He was a jerk. He's jealous. I beat him out for a major contract last year, and he's been bitter ever since. But forget him. Tonight is about us. He pulled her onto the dance floor as a slow song started. Dance with me? They swayed together, and Rochelle felt herself relax into his arms. I was so nervous about tonight. About fitting into your world. You don't need to fit into my world. My world needs to make room for you. And after tonight, everyone knows that you're not just some passing interest. You're my partner, my equal, the woman I love. He kissed her forehead. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for believing I could be. The rest of the evening was lovely. They danced, talked with other guests who were genuinely kind and interested in Rochelle's work, and donated a significant amount to the charity the gala supported. By the time they left, Rochelle felt less like an outsider and more like she belonged, not because of Nathan's wealth, but because of their shared values and love. In the car ride home, Nathan said, Gordon's going to cause problems. He doesn't forget slights, and you embarrassed him tonight. Let him try. We've handled worse. We have, haven't we? Together, we can handle anything. Anything, she agreed. When they arrived at her house, Nathan walked her to the door. Sophie and Tyler were having a sleepover at Nathan's house with a babysitter, giving them rare time alone. Rochelle invited him in, and they curled up on her couch, still dressed in their formal wear. Tonight made me realize something, Nathan said. I don't care what anyone in that ballroom thinks about us. The only opinions that matter are yours, mine, Sophie's, and Tyler's. We're a family, and nothing Gordon Walsh or anyone else says can change that. We are a family, Rochelle agreed. A really good one. The best one. They fell asleep on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms, the beautiful dress and elegant suit getting wrinkled but neither of them caring. What mattered was this: being together, facing the world as partners, building a life based on love rather than status or money. Gordon Walsh could do his worst. But Nathan and Rochelle together were stronger than any petty revenge. They'd proven that tonight, and they'd prove it again however many times they needed to. Because love, real love, doesn't crumble under pressure. It grows stronger. 3 weeks after the gala, the trouble started. Rise and Shine received a surprise health inspection. Nothing was found wrong, but it rattled Rochelle. Then rumors started circulating on social media. Anonymous posts claiming the bakery had unsanitary conditions, that Rochelle had only succeeded because of her relationship with Nathan, that the pastries weren't even her own recipes. At first, Rochelle tried to ignore it. But when customers started asking questions, when sales dipped slightly, she knew something was wrong. Nathan figured it out first. This is Gordon. Has to be. The timing is too convenient. What can we do? We can't prove it's him. No, but we can investigate. Nathan called Elizabeth Chin, his lawyer, and within days she'd uncovered evidence. Emails from a marketing firm Gordon had hired, social media accounts linked to his company employees, even a payment to someone claiming they'd gotten food poisoning from the bakery, though no such report existed with the health department. Elizabeth presented the evidence to Nathan and Rochelle in her office. This is harassment and defamation. You have a strong case to pursue legal action. More importantly, you can use this to pressure Gordon into backing off. Rochelle studied the documents, anger building inside her. Gordon was trying to destroy everything she'd built, all because his ego had been bruised. I want to confront him. That's not advisable, Elizabeth cautioned. Let me handle this professionally. No. Rochelle stood, her decision made. I want to look him in the eye and tell him he won't win. I want him to know that I'm not backing down. Nathan looked at her with pride and concern. If that's what you want, I'll support you. But I'm coming with you. Of course. We do everything together, remember? Elizabeth arranged a meeting at Gordon's office under the pretense of discussing a settlement. Gordon agreed, probably thinking they were going to beg him to stop. He was in for a surprise. Gordon's office was sleek and modern, all glass and steel, designed to intimidate. He sat behind a massive desk, that same cold smile on his face. Nathan. Miss Bennett. To what do I owe this pleasure? Rochelle walked up to his desk and placed the folder of evidence in front of him. We know what you've been doing. The fake health inspection complaints. The social media rumors. The paid reviews claiming food poisoning. All of it. Gordon's smile didn't waver. I have no idea what you're talking about. We have emails. Financial records. IP addresses. Everything we need to prove you've been conducting a targeted harassment campaign against my business. Rochelle's voice was steady, strong. The question is, do you want this to become public? You're bluffing. Nathan leaned forward. Try us. I have resources you can't imagine, and I'll use every single one to protect Rochelle and her business. We can do this quietly or we can do it in court with the media watching. Your choice. Even if I did do these things which I'm not admitting, why would I stop? You humiliated me at the gala. No, Rochelle corrected. You humiliated yourself by being petty and cruel. I just called you on it. And now you're proving that I was right about you. You care more about ego than integrity. Gordon's facade cracked slightly. You don't understand how business works in this city. Relationships matter. Reputation matters. You come in from nowhere and suddenly you're the darling of the community, all because you're sleeping with Nathan Pierce. My success has nothing to do with who I'm dating and everything to do with my work. People come to Rise and Shine because the food is good, the atmosphere is welcoming, and we treat customers with respect. That's something you apparently don't understand. She crossed her arms. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop your harassment immediately. You're going to issue a public apology, something vague about misunderstandings, and wish us well. And you're going to donate $50,000 to a culinary school scholarship fund in my name. Gordon laughed. You think I'm going to do all that? Yes. Because if you don't, we're filing a lawsuit tomorrow. And unlike your quiet whisper campaign, a lawsuit will be very public. Every media outlet in the city will cover it. Your clients will know. Your competitors will know. Your reputation, which apparently matters so much to you, will be in ruins. She leaned on his desk. I'm not some scared girl you can push around. I'm a businesswoman with resources and a partner who will move heaven and earth to support me. So you have a choice, back down gracefully or lose spectacularly. What's it going to be? The room was silent. Gordon looked between Rochelle and Nathan, calculation in his eyes. Finally he nodded slowly. Fine. I'll issue a statement and make the donation. But stay out of my way from now on. Gladly. I have better things to do than waste time on people like you. Rochelle straightened up. Oh, and Gordon? If you ever come after me or my business again, I won't be this generous. There won't be a meeting or a warning. I'll just crush you legally and publicly. Understood. Understood. They left his office and Rochelle didn't realize she was shaking until they reached Nathan's car. He pulled her into his arms immediately. You were a warrior in there. I've never seen anything like it. I was terrified. You didn't show it. You were strong and confident and you didn't back down for a second. He kissed the top of her head. I'm so proud of you. So incredibly proud. I couldn't have done it without you. Knowing you were there, that you'd support me no matter what, that gave me courage. That's what we do. We give each other courage. True to his word, Gordon issued a public statement the next day, apologizing for any misunderstandings or confusion regarding Rise and Shine Bakery and wishing them continued success. He also made the donation to a culinary scholarship fund, which Rochelle ensured was publicized. The response from the community was overwhelming. Sales at Rise and Shine increased. Customers came in specifically to show support. Other small business owners reached out, sharing their own stories of being targeted and thanking Rochelle for standing up to Gordon. A week after the confrontation, Rochelle was working at the bakery when a woman came in, probably in her 50s, well-dressed and confident. "Are you Rochelle Bennett?" "Yes, can I help you?" "I'm Diane Morrison, president of the City Small Business Association. I've been following your story and I'm impressed. We'd like to invite you to speak at our annual conference about overcoming adversity and standing up for your business. Would you be interested?" Rochelle's first instinct was to say no, that she wasn't a speaker, just a baker. But then she thought about how scared she'd been at Gordon's office, and how she'd found her courage anyway. Maybe her story could help others. "Yes, I'd be honored." That evening, she told Nathan about the invitation. He wasn't surprised. "You're becoming a role model. People see your strength and want to learn from it." "I don't feel like a role model. I feel like someone who's just trying to keep her head above water. That's what makes you relatable. You're real. You struggle and overcome and don't pretend it's easy." He pulled her close. "But Rochelle, you need to see what I see. An amazing woman who's built something from nothing, who faces down bullies, who doesn't let anyone define her worth. You're incredible. Only because you believe in me. I believe in you because you're worth believing in. But it's time you start believing in yourself too." She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, and realized he was right. Somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being the scared single mom facing eviction. She'd become a business owner, a partner, a fighter. She'd become someone who didn't just survive but thrived. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me, for believing in me, for standing beside me through all of this. Thank you for letting me, for trusting me, for loving me." He tilted her face up to kiss her. "We make a pretty good team. The best team." And as they stood in her living room, the children asleep upstairs, the bakery thriving, their relationship strong and tested, Rochelle felt a peace she'd never known. Whatever challenges came next, they'd face them together. And together they were unstoppable. 6 months passed. Rise and Shine Bakery opened a second location, this one run by Rochelle's former co-worker from Mr. Johnson's Bakery. The scholarship fund in Rochelle's name had helped 3 students attend culinary school. Sophie and Tyler were inseparable, calling each other brother and sister. And Nathan's adoption of Tyler was moving through the courts smoothly. It was a Saturday morning in late spring, the kind of day that makes you believe in new beginnings. Nathan had suggested a trip to the beach, a place 2 hours away that he'd visited as a child. Rochelle packed snacks and sunscreen, and they loaded the children into Nathan's car, everyone excited. The beach was beautiful, white sand, blue water, seagulls calling overhead. Tyler and Sophie ran toward the water immediately, Nathan chasing after them while Rochelle set up their spot. She watched her little family play in the waves, and her heart felt so full it might burst. Nathan came back after a while, sand in his hair and a grin on his face. "They're building a sandcastle. We've got a few minutes." "Good. I'm happy just watching." "Rochelle." His tone made her look at him. He seemed nervous, his hands fidgeting. "There's something I want to talk to you about." "Okay. These past 10 months have been the best of my life. You've changed everything for me and Sophie. You've made us whole again, made us a family. Every morning I wake up grateful that you said yes to that crazy proposal in the cafe." "Nathan. Please let me finish. I love you. I love Tyler. I love the life we're building together. And I don't want to spend another day not being officially your family." He stood up, pulling her to her feet. "Will you take a walk with me?" They walked along the water's edge, waves lapping at their feet. Tyler and Sophie were still busy with their sandcastle. Supervised by a nearby lifeguard, Nathan had discreetly arranged to watch them. When they were far enough away for privacy, Nathan stopped. "I practiced this speech 100 times, but now that we're here, I can't remember any of it." He laughed nervously. "So I'll just say this. Rochelle Bennett, you're the strongest, kindest, most amazing woman I've ever known. You've taught me what real partnership looks like, what it means to face life together. I want to spend forever with you, raising our children, building our dreams, growing old and gray." He got down on one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "Will you marry me? Will you be my wife, Sophie's mom, and let me be Tyler's dad in every way that matters?" Rochelle's hands flew to her mouth, tears already streaming down her face. The ring was beautiful, a blue sapphire surrounded by small diamonds, elegant and unique. "Yes," she breathed. "Yes, yes, yes." Nathan stood and slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into a kiss that tasted like salt air and happiness. They heard cheering and looked over to see Sophie and Tyler jumping up and down, clearly having been in on the plan. The children ran over and Nathan scooped them both up. She said yes. We're really going to be a family? Tyler asked. We're really going to be a family, Nathan confirmed. Sophie looked at Rochelle seriously. Can I call you Mom? Rochelle's eyes filled with fresh tears. I would love that, sweetheart. And Tyler, you can call Nathan Dad if you want to. I want to, Tyler said immediately. Hi, Dad. Nathan's voice was thick with emotion. Hi, son. They spent the rest of the day at the beach, celebrating, playing, being together. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they sat on a blanket and watched the waves. When do you want to get married? Nathan asked. Soon. I don't need a big wedding. Just us and the people we love. What about 3 months from now? That gives us time to plan but doesn't make us wait too long. 3 months sounds perfect. And it was perfect. They married on a beautiful summer day in Nathan's backyard, which they transformed into a garden paradise. Rochelle wore a simple cream-colored dress, not white. She was a practical woman, and Nathan wore a navy suit with a blue tie that matched her ring. Sophie was the flower girl, Tyler the ring bearer. The ceremony was small. Close friends, Nathan's business associates who'd become genuine friends, Rochelle's former co-workers, Sophie's grandparents, Amanda's parents who'd welcomed Rochelle with open arms. Elizabeth Chen officiated, and there wasn't a dry eye when Nathan and Rochelle exchanged vows they'd written themselves. I promise to stand beside you, Rochelle said, through every challenge and every joy. I promise to believe in your dreams and support your goals. I promise to love Sophie as my own daughter and to build a family filled with kindness and hope. I promise to accept your help when I need it and to offer mine in return. Most of all, I promise to love you, Nathan Pierce, for all the days of my life. Nathan's vows were simple but powerful. I promise to cherish you, to value your strength, to celebrate your successes. I promise to be the father Tyler deserves and the husband you've always needed. I promise to stand with you against any challenge and to make you laugh when times are hard. I promise to love you, Rochelle Bennett, now and forever. They sealed their vows with a kiss and everyone cheered. Tyler and Sophie ran up to hug them, and the four of them stood together, a family united not by blood alone but by choice and love. The reception was joyful and relaxed. They danced, ate good food from Rise and Shine Bakery of course, and celebrated late into the evening. During their first dance as husband and wife, Rochelle whispered, I never imagined this. Never dreamed I could be this happy. Neither did I. But here we are. Here we are. 3 months after the wedding, Nathan's adoption of Tyler was finalized. They held a small ceremony at the courthouse, and when the judge declared Nathan legally Tyler's father, Tyler jumped into Nathan's arms and said, Now it's official. You're really my dad. I always was, buddy. This just makes it legal. 2 years later, Rochelle gave birth to a baby girl they named Hope, because that's what had brought them together in the first place. Sophie and Tyler were devoted older siblings, arguing over who got to hold her first, who could make her smile the most. Rise and Shine Bakery had 5 locations across the city. Rochelle hired a general manager to handle day-to-day operations so she could focus on creative development and spend more time with her family. Nathan had stepped back from some of his CEO responsibilities, promoting a trusted executive and focusing more on projects that actually interested him. On Hope's first birthday, as they gathered in their backyard, they'd long since moved into Nathan's larger house, turning Rochelle's house into a rental property that helped fund her scholarship program. Rochelle looked around at their life. Tyler and Sophie were teaching Hope to walk, holding her hands while she took wobbly steps. Nathan was at the grill laughing with friends. The garden Rochelle had planted years ago was blooming. The sun was shining. Everything was exactly as it should be. Nathan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. What are you thinking about? I'm thinking about that day in the cafe. If I'd said no, if I'd let my pride keep me from accepting your help, none of this would exist. We wouldn't exist. But you said yes. You were brave enough to accept help, to take a chance, to believe that things could get better. I was desperate enough, she corrected with a smile. Then thank God for desperation. He kissed her neck. Though I prefer to think of it as faith. You had faith that I was genuine, that we could build something real. I had faith because you earned it. Every single day you showed me I could trust you. They stood together, watching their children play, and Rochelle marveled at how much her life had changed. From a struggling single mom facing eviction to a successful businesswoman, wife and mother of 3. From loneliness to a love she'd never imagined possible. Thank you, she said softly. For what? For seeing me that day. For asking me out. For believing in me. For loving me and Tyler. for giving us this beautiful life. Thank you for saying yes. To the date, to the house, to the bakery, to marriage, to all of it. Thank you for letting me love you and be part of your world." He turned her around to face him. "I meant what I said in my vows. You've given me more than I ever gave you. You gave me purpose, family, love. You gave me everything. We gave each other everything. Yes, we did." As the sun set over their backyard, turning the sky brilliant shades of orange and gold, they kissed while their children played and friends laughed. It was a moment of perfect happiness, built on a foundation of kindness, hope, and love. Just as it should be. That night, after the party ended and the children were asleep, Nathan and Rochelle lay in bed talking quietly. "Do you ever miss the old days?" Nathan asked. "Before things got complicated with the businesses and schedules? Sometimes I miss the simplicity. But I wouldn't trade this life for anything. Would you?" "Not for a second. Though I do sometimes miss that first kiss at the Harvest Festival. Everything felt so new and exciting." "Everything still is new and exciting. We're just excited about different things now. Like Hope's first words or Tyler's upcoming school play or Sophie's art show." "True." He pulled her closer. "You know what I love most about our life?" "What?" "That we built it together. Not me rescuing you or you fixing me, but both of us working together to create something better than either of us could have alone. That's what love is. Working together. Building together. Choosing each other every single day. And I choose you, Rochelle Pierce. Today and every day. I choose you too, Nathan. Always." They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, content and grateful for the journey that had brought them here. From a chance encounter in a cafe to a lifetime of love. From two broken families to one whole one. From loneliness to belonging. It hadn't always been easy. There were challenges and struggles, fears and doubts. But they'd faced everything together with kindness and hope and love as their guides. And in the end, that was what mattered most. Not the money or the success or the big house. But the love. The family. The choice to stand together through every storm and every celebration. That's what happily ever after really means. Not the absence of problems but the presence of partnership. Not perfection but commitment. Not fairy tale magic but real, honest, everyday love. And as Rochelle drifted off to sleep, she smiled, knowing that their story, which began with a simple, "I don't have a wife, can I have a date with you?" had become something beautiful and lasting. A story of second chances and new beginnings. A story of hope triumphant and love victorious. Their story. And it was only just beginning.